All right, so today we're joined by Mr. Austin Amaya. Did I pronounce it right, Austin?
Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, that's good
Okay.
enough. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I've been following you, watching your stuff on Instagram, and I like the way you're going about it there. It's pretty cool
Oh,
to see
thank
you
you.
have
Yeah,
a good little stable. And where are you
at
based?
least trying to. I'm in Orange County, California, or like I guess I teach in Orange County, California. I live in a county outside of Orange County, but most of my teaching I do in North Orange County and South Orange County.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with the area. I have an office in Redondo Beach, so
Okay, yeah. Or
I
if
have
yeah,
a
if you're
back.
from out of town, I teach in LA.
Okay, that's close enough. Yeah, yeah, close enough. I
Yeah.
cover work. Yeah. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you get to where you are now?
I played, I pursued professional golf for a while. I was a good junior player or tried to become a good junior player and transfer that junior good or decent junior play into some amateur play. And, ended up playing, won like a U.S. amateur qualifier, played in the U.S. amateur, played in like all the local amateur stuff, as a kid growing up, and then decided one day to give it a go and try and turn pro and played in a couple Q schools, tried to make my way, playing a living somehow, but, just didn't work out in the long run and ended up teaching. And along the way of trying to become a better player, I ran into people like Bob Grissett, who kind of led me down the stack and tilt path, which is kind of funny because if I would have never went to him in the first place if I knew that's kind of what I was going to get into, because at the time this is probably 2011, and I wasn't too fond of stack and tilt, just from I would say more so from my lack of knowledge than from actually knowing why I didn't like it. Um, and then that kind of just like I said, kind of led me down the path into teaching almost because Bob was, I felt so good in instructing, it almost like made me passionate about what he was saying. So, and that kind of led me, like I said, into teaching. And the past 8 year, or actually, this kind of led me into, and then with my relationship with Bob, kind of blended me. He got me to talk with John Leary, and John Leary is actually how I started teaching. I started teaching underneath him at Angeles National in, when is that, 2016 or so, I would say. And then finally, the opportunity came to move a little bit closer to home to start teaching, and I've been teaching closer to home for the past 6, 7 years or so. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what else to add along the way. Just played professional golf here and there. Tried making it for a living, couldn't make it for a living, couldn't play for a living. And actually, now I just started working on my PGA stuff to start playing competitively again, just because I haven't been playing competitively for the past 5 to 7 years or so. And it's not that I've lost my want to play competitively or lost my skill to play competitively. It's just I haven't really invested time to try and play competitively. And that's always been like in the back of my mind. Like that's why I got into golf, is because I love the competition. I love playing competitively, and I love testing my skills when it really mattered. And that's just the place I want to be back. So I started doing my PGA stuff again, and look forward to be competing here in some PGA local events soon, and kind of see where that takes me, and can kind of see where that also ends up taking my teaching career as well.
Okay. You do me a favor, just center yourself. You're coming. There you go. That's much better. I'm catching.
I'm on
Uh,
my iPad, and the camera's like over here.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, John Ray's a good guy. I'd never met
Yeah,
him, and had a lot of fun interviewing him. And he's got quite a story also. That's good.
yeah,
That's
and
good, man.
and his kid Grant. I mean, I remember when Grant was like 8 years old, 10 years old, and that's kind of when I met Grant. And now I've been following along with Grant and seeing his progress. And I mean, he's becoming a great player. And having John as his dad and his coach is, I mean, lucky for him. I mean, he's gonna do great.
That's good. Yeah, he's John's a good guy, and I can only imagine his son. I kind of follow the internet stuff, and so
Yeah,
you've been teaching now how long?
like 8 years, I would say. 8, 9, yeah,
Okay,
8, 9 years. Hmm.
and now you're going to go through the PGA program.
Yeah. I did my PA. I did the playing test like a year or so ago, and never started doing the book work. But last week, I just started sitting down and it's like, all right, I gotta knock this out. So knocked out a
Yeah,
little bit, and
that's
I
a
plan to knock out a little bit more after this interview.
okay, good. I mean, progress, not perfection, right? 1%
Exactly.
better every day. Is that how it goes? That the phrase?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a I never turned pro, but you're in the golf business. Monday's your day off, right?
Yeah.
So
Monday, Monday and Tuesday are typically Sunday, Monday, Tuesday are kind of slow. So, the latter half of the week and the weekend is really when things start picking up.
yeah, so what we had a little crew, where we worked, and what we would do is take PATs every Monday because
Uh
you'd pay $100. Back then, it was $100. You were playing a country club, right? So you play
huh.
in a nice club,
Yeah.
36 holes for $100, and the lunch was discounted.
Uh
So
huh.
you never
It's kind
wanted
of
to
a yeah. I
pass
mean,
it, so
yeah.
you could come play again next week. So
I mean, I wish I wish I could say the same about where my PAT was because I would not go back and pay what I paid to play there.
oh yeah, yeah. We were selective about where we played them. It was like
Yeah,
okay, this, you know,
because when I signed up for it, I was like, oh, like there's one next month, or I can wait till like 6 months out to go play somewhere nicer, a little bit farther away. And I was like, oh, like whatever. I'll just, it's only about an
yeah.
hour
I
away.
mean,
I'll just
it's
knock it
not.
out.
Yeah. So what
But yeah, have
yeah, good,
I
good.
have
I'm
no
sorry.
plans of going back and trying to pass it again because
Oh yeah.
where I played, it
Well,
was a dog track.
the funny thing about that was like the last year, and I think this was like '99, maybe '98. That was like the last year. So they used to let you get into the program and then take your PAT whenever.
Uh-huh.
So you had guys there that were like assistants forever for 6, 7 years, 8 years. Either never passed it or never took it,
Yeah.
and then they had been they weren't grandfathering anybody in. You either pass your PAT or you're out of the program. And all these guys had all their hours built
Uh-huh.
up, and all they needed was a PAT. And I'm out there, you know, enjoying myself, and these guys were really sweating it out, man. It was like they're playing for their
Yeah.
livelihood on this, you know, a 6-inch putt was like you're standing there like it's like in suspense. Like I'm in the fairway watching this, and it's like it's like
Yeah,
everything
no,
was
I mean
like
kind of to your story, there was a guy in my group, he had to make triple on the last hole to qualify, but he made quad and didn't qualify.
wow, that
Yeah.
sucks.
And yeah, I mean I don't think he really understood the rules because he hit a ball in the hazard and kind of started hacking away at it in the hazard. And if he just would have taken
Took
his drop, he
relief,
probably
yeah.
could have made 6 or 7, no problem.
Man, that sucks. That's a
Yeah.
tough one, man.
It was tough to watch, yeah.
So in your 8 years, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure you're dealing with a cross section of different levels of golfers, right? Or
Yeah,
you
yeah, I see
and
anyone from who swings and misses and or to someone that can, hit it out of the
yeah,
center pretty much every time.
yeah. What would you say the biggest fault the most common fault you're encountering with the higher handicappers?
Higher handicappers, I mean, I think this pretty much goes without saying, just the ability to contact the ball like consistently and well.
Just
Because I
contact,
mean,
right?
if yeah, it's just I mean contact because there's no such thing. If the three fundamentals of golf are contact, power, and curve, you can't get to power and curve without contact.
Right.
And if someone, the first thing someone needs to learn how to do is hit the ball and then learn to take a divot after the ball. And once they learn how to hit the ball and take a divot after the ball, the game becomes a little bit easier for sure, I think.
No doubt.
Because I never would work on with, so, you might get someone new and it's like, hey, like, I want to hit my driver far. And I'm not hitting my driver that well. Well, if you're not hitting your driver that well, you probably can't hit 7-iron that well or wedge that well either. And so it's almost like I always say, like, if someone comes to me, hey, like, I'm a 15 handicap. If I have a 100-yard shot, it might go 50, it might go 70, it might go 120, but I want to work on my driver today. And I would be like, well, there's almost no point in working on your driver because what if you hit a nice drive and you have 100 yards left and the ball goes 50, 70, or 120 yards? What was the point of hitting a good drive, if you can't hit the green? And to me, I mean, golf was always a second shot game. Like, yeah, like it's important to be a good driver of the ball, but you need to be a good enough driver of the ball to hit the ball in play to give yourself a shot into the green. I mean, if you're in the rough a little bit, that's okay as long as you're not in the trees all day where you don't have a shot at the green, then I'd say, yeah, your driving needs work. But if you can keep the ball in play, the second shot is what's going to set you up to shoot lower scores.
I agree. I mean, I wasn't like you guys. I played everything but golf, and I picked up golf by accident. I did. I picked it up by accident. I had a bad back, a football injury. I played a lot of, so I'm working and I'm like this weekend warrior, but I'm
Uh-huh.
playing like softball, fast pitch softball, football, full court, 4 or 5 full court basketball. But I'm playing like if I was on in the NBA, or I'm
Yeah.
crashing into walls. But I got to go to work on Monday. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I wind up getting hurt, my back sciatica, and some guy invites me to a pitching putt. So the challenge of hitting the golf ball, right, contacting it, and the longest
Uh-huh.
club I had was uh, 56, maybe 60 degree,
Uh-huh.
maybe a 52, whatever. Actually, pitching wedges back then were 52. It's that
Yeah.
Cobra made them
Uh-huh.
change them at some point. But I got
Yeah, and I mean now
fairly
pitching
good
wedge
at it.
is 40 degrees.
Yeah, pitching wedge is like an 8 iron now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got fairly good at it, and so all of a sudden I'm beating all these guys, and we're playing $5, $2 here, whatever, on these 18
Yeah.
holes, and the longest hole was 100 yards. So my friend, who later on became a cop, and anyway, he got upset because he taught me, and then he bet me $100 that I couldn't break 100 on a regular golf course. And I thought about it. I did the math. I said, "You're on." So I played him at this course called Douglaston. It's a par 68,
Uh-huh.
and it had 8 par 3s, okay, 2 par 5s. I said, okay, if I hit a 5 iron and I get to the 150, because it's like 320 holes, 330 holes, and
Yeah.
if I can get to the 150, I can get down in 4, worst case 5. And I added
Yeah.
up. There's no way. Okay, you got it. I shot a 90. So I shoot a 92, and I beat him. But to your point, when I started playing golf, I was able to score fairly decently because I learned the game from the green back, right?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
never, I never had a driver. I never had the
Yeah.
opportunity to start slicing a driver full speed. You know what I mean? I was afraid of the driver. So
Yeah.
these guys are all over the lot. They can't figure it out. So it was, now it's like
Yeah, because if you never hit a driver, you'll never develop really the scar tissue of slicing it because irons are a lot harder to slice than a driver. So
exactly,
I mean, yeah, if
yeah.
you never hit driver, you're like, I can keep this in front of me. I'm gonna hit it okay. Even if I hit it 120 yards, it's gonna go kind of far enough for me to get it down in 5 or 6.
And that back then the equipment was not what it is today. So
Yeah, no, of
it was a
course.
lot more penal. The balls, the club head. For example, if you go back in time, and I'm dating myself here, but the Big Bertha, when it came out, it was like this
Mhm.
huge thing,
Yeah,
and then I was looking
that
at the
was.
biggest Big Bertha. That was supposed to be
Mhm.
like this big watermelon, right? It's only
Yeah.
280 cc's. It's
Are
only
we talking about
280.
the old like silver head?
Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
biggest
yeah. My
Big Bertha
yeah,
titanium head. Like
my
when you
grandpa used
first
to
saw
play
that,
that. Yeah,
like that's smaller than a 5 wood today. You
yeah.
know
Uh
what I
huh.
mean? And so I'm saying like the
Yeah, they call those.
technology.
Yeah, I mean those are mini drivers nowadays.
Right, exactly. It's a mini driver, 280, like a 3 wood. But yeah, so the technology, I think, and despite that, I think the golfers haven't improved, or the average handicap over the last 150, I don't remember what the number is, 60s, maybe 60
Uh huh.
years, has improved by 1 stroke, despite the fact that, and And the reason it's improved, it's not because of equipment, it's because of agronomy. The golf courses and the greens are in a lot better shape. So, you know,
Yeah.
so it ain't easy. So you're in a good profession
No,
because
yeah.
no, nobody's getting better.
No, yeah. I hear it all. I hear it all the time. You know, they're like, "Oh, you have the most job security of anyone I know."
Right.
Just because, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, no one's going to figure it out on their own. I mean, you might think you might figure it out on your own, but at the end of the day, it's very hard to figure it out on your own. And
It's sad
if
to
you
start.
have figured it out on your own, I mean, you are one in a million because,
It's sad.
you know, that's why there's endless golf instructor jobs. I mean, you can anyone at any time can become a golf instructor, and I think it happens more and more each day that people just kind of find their way into golf instruction. Like, oh, I helped one person, and if I helped one person, I can maybe help another person, and so on and so forth. And you know, we get a lot of people in golf instruction, and at the end of the day, golf instruction still doesn't really have a universal language. So that's, I think, what makes it really hard for the masses to get better, because no one knows what anyone's really talking about at the end of the day. So it's kind of always everyone's taking their own take on golf, and somehow we need to come together. And not that I think this will ever happen, but somehow we need to come together and make golf universal for people to learn. But at the end of the day, if we made it universal for people to learn, I think that hurts our job security.
Yes, to a certain extent, yes. I think that human nature keeps that from happening because if 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 everybody were open about information and sharing, like most of the guys that I've interviewed and I've talked to, these guys are great guys. They're knock around guys. Some of them I know for a long time. John Ray I just met seems like a
Mm-hmm.
great guy. These people are willing to contribute to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are in it for the ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talk about universal languages, you can listen to, I think, and I'm talking just as a casual observer,
Mm-hmm.
that follows golf and is an aficionado, and I've been around the game for a long time. I've been in the golf industry. I know a lot of pros and everything. It's this who gets the credit. So I'm in a country
Yeah.
where credit is a currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Certain
100%.
things
Yeah.
certain things are out there and they're just out there. They're out there for
Yeah.
public consumption, right? And the fact that you incorporate it into your teaching method, right,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean you stole it, right?
Yeah.
In other words, I'm an engineer. If every time I used a squared plus b squared, I'd have to credit Pythagoras, who invented this damn thing 10,000 years ago. I would be in trouble,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. So one of the things about you mentioned Angelus, and Greg McHatton, who's my coach, he's up there
Mm-hmm.
in Valencia now, but
Yeah.
um, he did a lot of research back in the '80s
Mm-hmm.
with force plates and biomechanics and all this stuff, and he was teaching me a bunch of stuff that like step in pressures and this kind of stuff, which is like back then it was avant garde, and you know, in fact, people were teaching the opposite, to restrict,
Yeah.
to try to do this, and I went back to him, I guess 5 years ago, and I said, everybody's a teacher. He's like, yeah, that's a great thing. It's a good thing that people are actually using this, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Instead,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the reaction isn't like, oh, these guys,
Yeah. Whereas, like, like, for instance, like Mac is kind of Mac O'Grady is like that. He feels like people have stolen his stuff, and that's why he likes to keep his stuff so secretive. And he feels like if you use his information and don't give him credit, you're stealing his work. Which, to each their own. If you feel that way and you feel that passionate about your work, and I'm not gonna be disrespectful and say he's being you know inhumane by not wanting to share his information. I mean, he's worked hard and made his own study, and if he doesn't want to share his information that he spent so much time studying and building, so be it. I mean, but and then this kind of goes back. I remember Andy Plummer. I was at one of his schools that he was doing, or seminars, and we started chatting, and he's like, Austin, like you have to, he's like, I know you're learning all this stuff and this is important, but he's like, at the end of the day, you need to make your own study. He's like, you need to make something that's yours. And that really stuck with me because, at the time it was kind of like I was just trying to learn what other people were doing and learning how they do it. And I was like, I want to master so and so's way, and I want to master so and so's way. And then like that kind of hit me. It's like, well, how about I just make my own study? And that's kind of how, ever since then, I kind of looked at things like my own study. Like, before I have my opinion about it, let me look into it myself and create my own study about it, so I kind of know more about it, instead of just making assumptions and off what other people are saying and trying to kind of copy and paste what other people are saying. Which is, some people do, and that's great and
Yeah,
it works for them. But at the end of the day, I feel like I get better as an instructor if I create my own study and make things make sense to me and do the research myself.
and I agree 100%. And moreover, if you have your own study, I mean, 90% of the battle is communication. It's the ability to
Oh,
communicate
100%.
effectively.
Yeah.
And the first thing they're gonna ask you questions. You don't want to have to go to,
Yeah.
bring out
Yeah.
SNT 2.0 and say, okay, let me
Let
see.
me, yeah, let me Google what you're asking me really quick,
Exactly.
and I'll come back.
Exactly. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Because yeah, I mean,
You
that's
know,
that's
that's
like, you don't want to get in a situation like someone asks you something, you're like, well, I don't know, I haven't got that far yet.
hold on, let me make a call. Hey, wait, let me make a phone call.
I haven't read that chapter yet.
Yeah. So again, so one of my dear friends is Andreas Kali in Denmark, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
I know
great
him.
instructor.
Yeah. So I know him for a long time, since he's been following the blog for like 15 years or so.
Yeah.
But the one thing I was surprised is that he credits Andy Plummer with a lot of his stuff.
Yeah,
Gives
because I
Andy a
would
lot
say
of credit.
like Andres has made his own study in a sense.
But if
Because
you
like,
look at
and
right,
yeah,
yeah,
like,
I'm sorry.
and I'm sorry to interrupt, but like, yeah,
No,
as
no,
you're
no.
saying, like, yeah, it has a baseline of stack and tilt, which like I would say my study is, and but he has his baseline of where he's learned his information from, and he continued to study to evolve his own system that he uses for his
Right,
students.
right. And if you look
And
at
I
his
mean, yeah,
stroke
I mean,
pattern, you would never say, hey, this is stack and tilt based, but it is. And he says it. He says, I get this.
yeah,
There's a bunch of
yeah,
fundamentals in there. Mm,
for
yeah,
sure, yeah, because yeah, I think a lot of people have in their mind like what stack and tilt looks like, and maybe maybe that looks a certain way to someone, but someone else might be teaching and it looks totally different, and they might not know, oh, is that does that have the base work of stack and tilt? And well, it doesn't look like it, but like in Andres's case, like, oh yes, it doesn't, maybe it doesn't look exactly like the first commercial that ever came out, but the baseline of it is very stack and tilt based, you could say.
right. But that's one of the things that, and I've mentioned it to a lot of my friends, like Nick Clearwater, back when he was Andreas Kali and all these guys. They would have never given it that name if they were never given it a name, right?
Yeah.
They would have never been exposed to so much. You know what I mean? Because now it's like, okay, your
uh,
method teaching, you're doing it just opened up the door
yeah.
for the haters, honestly.
No, and that's what
And
no, so
but
that's what Bob always told me, Bob Grissett, because he was a big, I mean, he was, loved Andy and Mike's stuff. And he always would tell me, he's like, if they just would have named it like the centered pivot, I feel like it would have taken a lot less heat. He's like, for some reason, he's like, the name just didn't work. And he's like, I would have just named it the centered pivot. But I mean, you know,
well,
maybe, and all that stuff could have made, could have made it more popular. People talk, I mean, the more people talk about something at the end of the day, the more popular it becomes, whether it's good or bad.
well, it's no notoriety. So Al Capone
Hmm.
was notorious because he got news. He was news. Trump
Yeah,
exactly. Any news is good news. Right?
exactly. Yeah.
So, but when you look at it, right, and I saw a uh, uh, South SCPGA where Andy Plummer was giving us uh, 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 a
Oh yeah,
seminar.
that was recent down in San Diego.
Yeah, and he was with a young lady there,
Gina.
um, Gina, exactly.
Hmm.
And I think if she would have said what she said way back when, she would have saved the day. And here's why. So she said that this leaning like that was just a drill. It's not the stroke pattern.
Hmm.
That would have clarified a hundred thousand
Yeah.
different things. And here's why. So I got I had a video, and it was on YouTube of Elkington working with Andy,
I think I already know what video you're talking about.
and he's leaning like this, right? And he comes
It's
back and he leans like this. It
hold
was
on,
it was
I know
it
it.
was
I have
it
it on my
was
phone.
it was just like maybe it wasn't that long. It was a minute. It was under a minute. I
Yeah,
posted on the
I know.
blog, and everybody went ballistic. Yeah, look at this! Look at this! What the fuck?
This one.
Is that the one? It might be. Yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
it. Yeah, 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 that's it. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know. I know
So
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
once he did that, the guys went to town on it, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
All of a sudden, Bragg Faxon is now, I think he's on the senior tour, and he's working with Andy, right?
Hmm.
So now everybody's trying to disassociate themselves with that. And that became like the vision that everybody had of stack and tilt. Was
100%. Yeah.
was that,
And that
was
even
you,
even
and
me,
you
that
you
was my,
you just
yeah,
you just
even
came on
me.
board, right? Right.
Yeah.
So
And like
you
this
just
was
said
no, this was before I came on board, I think. And I
exactly,
was like,
exactly. Yeah,
like that's why I was like, I
I'm not
was
doing
kind of
that.
skeptical about it. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
stubborn. I was a decent player. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Uh huh.
And, if Bob never,
So yeah. So continue. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, like, I mean, Bob basically kept it hidden from me what he was teaching from me, like the actual name of it. And then all of a sudden I start shooting under par like every round. And, then it kind of comes out later. And I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. Like, whatever you want to call it, as long as it makes me play
Good
well, like,
stuff.
who
It's good.
cares?
I mean,
Yeah.
you can
But
be
then, I mean, if
dynamic
you,
and you know you can
no,
be
go
dynamic
ahead.
and still have a centered pivot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
I,
mean,
I
like at the end of the day, like most people want you to stay centered. I mean, like
yeah.
maybe Stack and Tilt might want you to stay more centered than others, but at the end of the day, it's not like everyone's trying to move 10 inches off the ball. I mean, we know
No.
no one does that.
No. But
I mean, few inches,
there's
sure.
there's
I
there's
mean,
there's there's
there's parameters.
there's parameters and tolerances where where
Yeah.
you can actually, because I mean, even if you go to Morad, right,
Hmm.
and he wants you to he talks about his vision, his neck tilt,
Hmm.
proprioception and things like that. It can only be beneficial. I don't think you're losing that much power. Follow me? I mean, I've seen you
Yeah.
hit the ball on Instagram. You hit it pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I can do 130, 190, and
Yeah,
I stay pretty centered.
yeah,
But I mean,
that's good.
I will say, if I'm trying to increase speed, I'm shifting pressure more.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like
I mean,
my standard tolerant like baseline shot, like I'm not trying to move pressure as much. I'm just trying to keep it stable and hit it straight and far enough.
yeah,
Because
and
I
that's
mean, yeah,
my
like, you,
point. Is that
yeah,
you
yeah,
you have
you look at the
options.
PGA Tour. I mean, you need to hit it straight at the end of the day.
Well, I find that when I'm playing 85% golf, I score well, and
Yeah.
if I have 15 in reserve, and it calls for it, you know what I mean. So you have to be able to hit
Yeah.
to. One of the fundamentals is you have to generate enough power to play the course you're playing, right? So at my age now, I'm playing like 6,500 maximum, 6,600, right? And I can play that distance at 80%, 85%. Keep it
Yeah.
in play and score. You know, if need be, I still
Yeah,
know I
and
got
that's
15% of the tank I can call on, right?
100%. I mean, that's something I think almost like maturity teaches you because as a kid, I never felt, and even as an amateur golfer, I never felt I had like that extra reserve tank. But now when I play today, I'm like, I got another 30 or 40% if I really needed it here. Like, but I'm just gonna chip something. I don't need
Right.
to access that. And I think
But
that
that's
is like the faster you can learn that as a competitive player, the better you'll be in the long run. Because if you're a competitive player trying to hit every shot full and really hard, you'll at the end of the day, or that'll just eventually catch up to you.
no, not just that. You have to learn to play conditions. Like yesterday, that Valero Texas Open.
Hmm.
If you have a pitching
Exactly.
wedge
Yeah.
and you compress it well enough, it's just going to come right back to your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
harder
Yeah.
you hit it, the
And
more it's going to spin, and the more it's going to, the more it's going to be
exactly.
tough.
I mean, yeah, you could have 130, but you need to hit 6 iron, and
And a chippy, yeah, make
that's
sure
what the
it
shot
gets
calls for
exactly. And those you develop those shots by, again,
with time. Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
maturity. It's maturity. It's understanding
Experience.
that
Yeah.
it
It's
doesn't.
plugging
If
it in
you're
the front bunker enough times.
Yeah, not just that. It's listening to this guy who's hitting a pitching wedge when you have an 8 in your hand. I saw your that little crew of yours. Um,
Oh yeah, our our podcast,
yeah.
our
They're pretty
the Bad Bounce
interesting.
Boys. Yeah,
Yes,
we've
yes, yes.
actually we've been off a little bit, as not off, but we've taken some time off from doing it for a little while. But I actually have the gear sitting here in my garage, and we've had talk of pulling the gear out again. And I think there's we had four of us. Two of us right now are fairly busy, but there's two of us that can make time for it, and we've talked about making time for it. And I think we're going to do something more like this, like you have here, Ralph, where it's just kind of like a Zoom call. Because before we would all meet in person, like every Monday night or every Tuesday night, and film our
You
podcast.
sit on a couch and
Yeah,
yeah,
sit on a couch. Which I mean, it's tough to every week to get four people together like around the same time. Just week in and week out. Everyone
right.
has lives and careers that they're involved in, and so I think if we can kind of structure it like this, which as you're you probably know, it's fairly easy to get people
Yeah,
online than it is in
right.
person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, and just talking golf with your friends. I mean, what's better? I mean,
And you guys go
every
back a
week
ways,
there.
huh? You guys go.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
guys
yeah.
been friends for a long time.
Yeah, we've been friends for 10 plus years or so,
Okay.
and yeah, I mean, and it's
Looks like
some
you're
of us
having a looks like
started.
you're having a blast, and that's what's important, right?
Yeah, some of us didn't like each other because we were playing competitively against each other. That's kind of how we met, just through golf, through competitive golf, really. And some of us hated each other, and some of us liked each other. And at the end of the day, we all ended up liking each other and
Being
getting
buddies.
along
Yeah,
pretty
that's
well.
good.
Yeah.
I'm watching the kid Park, Jay Park. Is that his name? Park,
Yeah, Josh.
Jay, Josh Park. Yeah, he's got
Uh-huh.
some good instruction. He's got some good.
Yeah, yeah.
I like
He's
watching his stuff
I
there.
mean, he does great content, and he always is putting out some good stuff. He's a good friend of mine, and he's an awesome guy too.
Yeah, he seems like that. And the kid Nico.
Yeah, Nico is also an instructor. They actually teach at the same range.
That guy's
Nico
probably
and
got
Josh.
the prettiest swing on Instagram.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you think rhythm and tempo, I mean, he completes the
He's
package
smooth.
of
Yeah,
rhythm. Because yeah, I mean, you also need rhythm in golf, and Nico has the rhythm for sure.
but he's got the dynamics. Is he? Because
Yeah, and I mean, and he has the not only does he have rhythm, but he has the alignments as well. I mean, he
okay, he hits the
swing is
ball well.
structured very tight. Mhm.
Yeah, he's got a very
Does hit the
tight
ball
swing.
very
That's what
well.
I was
Yeah.
gonna, that would be the way to describe it.
Uh-huh.
Very tight. Very, very, very hits
Yeah,
all the
okay, I
positions
mean,
nicely.
yeah, controls the ball.
And he's very smooth. Yeah, yeah. So what goes? So you guys are going to come back online now?
We've
Your
been, I mean,
guys.
there's talk about it. I mean, we text in our group. Even though we've had our group chat going for a while, and I mean, the group chat fires every day, and we're texting every day. But it's just a matter of, I guess, putting that or making content out of that and putting it out to the public. Kyle was our big content guy, and he kind of got busy with work, so our content got slowed down a lot, and that's why. Because I mean,
Okay.
Kyle was
He's
obsessed
not.
with pushing
He's
content.
not a pro, right? Is he a
No, he's
pro?
not. He's the only one that's not a pro in the group. He's just kind of
Okay.
like,
Okay.
but great. I mean, great player. has played in multiple U.S. amateurs and high ranking am events. He actually
He's
was
funny.
just playing
He's funny.
in a good amateur event last weekend. So I mean, he still plays competitively, um, and still does well competitively.
Okay, he's a funny guy. He
Yeah.
brings yeah yeah. So you have anything you'd like to add?
I mean, it's Masters week. Do you have a pick for me, Ralph?
Yeah, Rory.
Rory, is he
Yes,
gonna?
it's
Is he
about
finally gonna
time.
get it done?
Uh, if there was a course that was designed for him, it's Augusta
Mhm.
National,
I have
right?
100% agree. I mean, I
I
100% agree. I
if he
mean,
doesn't
someone
screw it
that,
up, if he doesn't screw it up in the first two rounds, he'll find
yeah,
himself dominating the course for 54 holes, and then all of a sudden, who knows?
because yeah, I
Uh
think
oh,
any condition the course is in,
I
it's
lost you there.
beneficial for him. If it's soft, it's fine. If
Oh,
it's firm, it's fine. If it's mediocre in terms of
I
firmness or
lost you there.
softness, it's fine. Lost it here.
Are you there? Uh oh, are you there?
Yeah, here we are.
I kind of lost you. Sorry.
Yeah, I lost you for a second.
Yeah. So go ahead. Who's your pick?
I mean, I do like Rory a lot. I honestly haven't even looked at the field yet. Off the top of my head, I mean, I don't know how Bryson doesn't play well here. It's pretty impressive that he's found a way to mess it up every year ever since he said par 68.
Mm,
Um, DJ is just not DJ of old. Brooks doesn't seem to be Brooks of old. But Joaquin Neiman has kind of seemed to been the live player that's been dominating as of the past year or so. So I think he has a
yeah,
good all around game. Drives
he
it
does.
well, strikes it well, chips it well, puts it well. Um, as long as he doesn't kind of like you, as long as anyone doesn't kind of keeps it together, doesn't have a hole where they start playing ping pong around the greens. I mean, they should be okay.
Yeah, I think Augusta's. You have to par the par threes, birdie the par fives, and let the par fours take care of themselves. If
Yeah. Hmm.
you start getting big numbers on those par fours, that's where you blow it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, and you got to be accepting of bogey sometimes. Like,
Yes.
one's not an easy par four. I mean, you get yourself in the wrong spot on three. I mean, you just got to be accepting of bogey sometimes. And in a major championship, I mean, bogey's going to be okay because at the end of the week, winning score is only going to be 10 to 12 under par.
I think that from hole 9 on, that golf course could be a nightmare. So if you saw the 96 Masters, Norman lost. I think Norman lost it there. He spun it off the front of the green.
Off nine.
Right. Yeah. 10
Yeah,
is a
because
beast,
you can have
right?
60 yards if you spin it off nine.
Yeah. 10 is a beast, right?
Yeah, 10's a beast. Yeah.
Yeah. 10 is a beast. 11's got the pond in front of it. Is that the one where Larry Mize chipped
Yeah.
in? Okay, so
The
those three holes.
dog leg right, like 500-yard hole. I mean, tough. I mean, you have to hit a good drive to the corner, and then you still have 200 in.
You got a downhill shot with the pond on the left, right? Okay, so
Mm-hmm. Yep.
those three holes, those three holes can make or break that tournament.
Yeah. And then
I think.
if you get a sour wind on 12 that you can't find, makes that hole
Well,
tough as well.
you shouldn't attack. I mean, that historically, whoever's gone after that flag has wound up in the lake, save for couples. Couples stayed on the edge, and
Somehow, somehow
he saved the par. But
that ball staying on the edge put him in the golf Hall of Fame.
yeah, Cam Smith went in the took a drink.
Yeah, I mean Tony
Norman
Finau,
Norman
Francesco
went in the water.
Molinari,
Now exactly. They've all. So
Poulter,
yes,
Brooks.
Poulter. Right. They've
Yeah,
all they've all met their
Spieth.
Waterloo there. So you have to be. You
Spieth.
have to
That was the
be
downfall of Spieth
right. Yeah.
because when Spieth was leading by two or three going into 12 that one year, was it
Yeah.
2016
But did he?
and
Yeah. Yeah.
or 2017 and hit it in the drink twice, flubbed his like 90-yard shot in the drink. I mean, and he hasn't really been the same space since.
You got four. What, you got 4 majors?
I believe
He's
4
got
majors, yes.
he's got 4 major
3 or
championships,
4,
and
yeah.
he's Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no,
I,
he had a Hall of Fame year. I mean,
yeah,
that
he had a
year,
whole
I think
exactly.
2015 could have put him in the Hall of Fame itself. 2015,
Yeah.
2016.
Do you have any dark horses?
Dark horses. I mean, it's tough. Dark horse. It's funny. We were talking last night. Josh Park. His dark horse. He said was Minwoo Lee.
Minwoo?
Yeah, which I don't know how much of a dark horse that is. I mean, guy just won, and he is the talk of the tour right now.
Well, he
And
can.
he said Minwoo has the front 9 scoring record at Augusta.
Yeah, but he can. I don't think he's been under that kind of pressure before,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that um, Nick Faldo said it best. Like, when you're under pressure, swing slower, think tempo, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that he would be prone to over accelerating and spraying it if he gets under pressure.
Yeah. No, because
That's just me.
he does. Well, I mean, yeah, we saw what happened not last weekend, but the weekend before. I mean, he was in contention and he did
He must
win,
have
but
been like
he did
he
spray.
was like, I mean, he hit a shot that must have been almost 200 yards offline.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, yeah. Like, luckily, some of these guys are on certain holes that you can do that.
Well, Dana's coaching Bryson, and he seems to think that Bryson, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how many jackets he'll have. And if he's hitting it that way, and he's playing wing foot. You played Friar's Head, right? So that's when you played. You ever played
Yeah,
any wing foot? You played wing foot?
I haven't played Winged Foot. No, I
Yeah,
haven't
wing
had the
foot's a beast.
opportunity
Wing
yet.
foot's a beast, and he
Yeah.
played bomb engaged there and won, and
Mm-hmm.
and Pinehurst too. He played the same game, and so I guess he's got. I think He's feeling like he's got the control, and he's putting well according to Dana. So be
He's
interesting
always
to see.
putted. I mean, I remember playing with him in high school, and he was ahead of aim point at his time because he had this thing that it was called Vector, which was, I think, eventually ended up getting sued by aim point. But he was like, he was doing aim point before aim point was a thing. This was like 2012, and I remember, and like we were playing a practice round together, and he's like, just hit it here at this speed, it'll go in, and I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing that, and I was like, man, like this guy is cheating. Like, how does he know this?
How's he know?
And then yeah, I mean, it was like 6-7 years later, I ended up taking an aim point class with Mark Sweeney. I'm like, oh, this is what Bryson was doing, 6-7 years ago, but it wasn't called aim point at the time.
They had a different name, yeah. So I mean, well,
Yeah.
you've been around those guys, so
Yeah, and that same year, I played with Sahith the round before, and Bryson the next round, and I think Sahith chipped in like 3 or 4 times when I played with him and shot
Patia?
6 under. No, Thigala.
Tagala. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, he's a California guy, right?
Yeah, Thigala and DeChambeau are both my class.
Okay. So you were
And
competing
Thigala
against
was,
those guys.
Thigala was, I mean, in the same neck of the wood I was really, and same with Knapp is my class as well.
Okay. So yeah. I would have liked to have seen Jake there, but actually I had a whole.
No, I mean,
I had a. Good.
he should get back there. I mean, Jake has always been exceptional. I mean, exceptional. Yeah. I mean, he can. I mean, if he's on, I mean, we saw him shoot 59. I mean, he can go insanely low if he's on. I mean, I've seen it. Anyone that's played with him in California has seen it. I mean, he's very, very good.
Yeah, John Ortega told me that he's never out of it either. Like he can hit it anywhere and figure out a way to. And as you did it,
Like I would say, he's not even playing to his potential yet. I mean, he's very good.
Yeah, I kind of figured it. He's got a short game. He's really smooth with the chips and the pitches and the putts, and
and he's a great
Good.
For having the speed he has, he's a great putter. I mean, very
Right.
good putter for the speed he has. And he
Yeah.
doesn't really hit it that wild for the speed he has. I mean, he's very good
Very,
striker.
very within the yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps a tight cone.
All right, so your pick is now Joaquin Neiman.
Man, yeah, I would say
I'm gonna
Joaquin Neiman's my
we're gonna
pick.
hold
Yeah.
we're gonna hold you to Joaquin. I'm going with Rory. Okay. If
Yeah,
if
and
you win, if you win, I will send you a box of Dominican cigars. I don't know if you smoke cigars. You like
oh
cigars?
yeah, love cigars. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so this is outside of Havana. This is the cigar capital of the world. So,
Okay, okay.
my-
All right. Well, I like that deal. That's a deal I can
yeah,
be good with.
yeah. All right, Austin. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Right?
Of course, yeah. No,
We'll
it's been a
check in
pleasure,
again.
Ralph.
I enjoyed chatting with you. You know,
Of course.
if you want to
Would
bring
love
your
to do it
boys on,
again.
we can have a 5-way. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
You
yeah,
know, yeah.
I can work that out with the boys for sure.
We should just BS for an hour and put it up and see what happens, right?
Yeah, we can for sure do that.
Well, thank you, man. It's been a pleasure. I enjoyed talking to you.
All right,
Met
Ralph. Of
another
course,
good
thanks for
guy.
having me. All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
no,
be
thank you. We'll be in
we'll
touch.
be okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right, bye bye.
I just leave it.